Welcome. Welcome
Hello.
back to welcome back to another episode of TSP. How you guys doing?
Fantastic, sir.
All right. Before we get
Good.
on to Buzz, I'd like to thank our Patreon members and everybody that supports us because, as you know, all the money that is generated from this podcast, cookbook sales, goes to the nonprofit Minutes Wisely, where we send veterans and first responders and Gold Star families to sporting events. And it's been a pretty successful year this year for our first year. We've had two guys go to the Chicago Cubs home opener back in the spring. We're wrapping up football season. We've had season tickets to the Detroit Lions. So every home Sunday, there's been a couple of veterans in our seats, and it's been awesome, man. Every time I get some photos from these events, man, it just freaking warms my heart, man. It's great. Our the whole concept of this is trying to curb veteran suicide, man, which is a tragedy, and we're doing our little part where we can. But if you'd like to help out, jump on, buy a copy of the cookbook From Sailor to Backyard Cook. And hey, Buzz, just let you
Yeah,
know,
you might be in there, Buzz.
this is not an ordinary cookbook. I took my two favorite things, cooking and talking to veterans.
The
And what I
Navy.
did, I took quotes out from my from the podcast and I interjected them inside next to the recipes, man. And some of these are pretty emotional. Actually, the one I just opened up to is Al Liphart, and he's the first couple words is, but he got shot in the head. So this guy literally talks about death and destruction, and
Yeah.
it's pretty surreal. But his story is pretty amazing.
Yeah, Al is he's a good guy. He's going to be the commander in chief of the VFW, the entire VFW, come July. So in Louisville, Kentucky, I'm going to see him ascend the throne of the VFW.
And I've been working on a website. It's called minuteswisely.com. So if you want to hop over there, check it out. There's blogs. I write a couple blogs. One of my other guys from my sports podcast, he was a sports writer for the Detroit Free Press, and he writes blogs for me also. So it's pretty good. And all the funds from that podcast also goes to help supporting the nonprofit. So get out there and
Flake,
get the
come
Minutes
next week,
Wisely.
man. I'm going to get like a half season of tickets for the Preds, even though they're not doing so well. I will, when I get back from vacation, I will have tickets for the Preds.
Hell
So
yeah.
me and a veteran or whatever, we can go and we can go to the Preds, even though
Yes.
they're not as good as the Bruins, and they're definitely not as good as the Flyers. But they try really hard.
Hey, like I told you earlier, Flyers ain't won a cup in almost 50 years. So I'm not saying anything about the Flyers, bro.
Hey, it's a cool logo, man. I always love those guys.
It's a pretty cool logo. The Detroit Red Wings are on the rise also, so look for some.
Yeah,
good
but
things.
they ain't got no 37 points like the Bruins do. Booyah! That's
Yeah,
right.
But you know what? You know what? Not to interrupt you.
Okay.
We all know who won the President's Cup last year and what they did in the first round.
I was just going to bring that up.
Seriously, no, do not put that curse on us again, okay?
Hey,
Every year.
Winning the President's Cup is a big giant curse, man. Don't win it. Don't be out there first.
Hey, they're playing the Sabres. They're playing the Sabres tonight, okay? So, I mean, that should be easy. The Sabres.
Patrick Kane suits up for the Red Wings for the first time tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We poached him from Chicago. But hey, before we get on to our sponsor, I just want to mention one thing. Even though today's recorded, so when you hear it, it will not be December 7th. But I just want to point out that today is December 7th. And crazy story. Both my grandfathers were World War II veterans. One was on the ground in the Army, old Hickory 30th Division. My other grandfather was in the Navy, and he was in boot camp on December 7th, 1941. And his first assignment was filling body bags in Pearl Harbor. You know, as soon as he graduated, he went to Pearl Harbor, and his job was to fill body bags and do some cleanup work. And then he ended up on a battleship afterwards and fought in the Pacific. But the stories that he used to tell me about filling body bags at Pearl Harbor, And then when I was a young sailor, I was probably 19 years old. And when we pulled into Pearl Harbor, the aircraft carrier, so a lot of people don't know this, but the USS Arizona is still an active duty ship. So anytime another ship pulls by, the skipper will announce attention on deck, and then everybody will hand salute as we're taxiing past the Arizona. So as I'm standing there as a 19-year-old kid, and just 45 years before that, my grandfather was there at the very same spot, picking up bodies and putting them in bags. Let me tell you, man, the tears were rolling down my face, and it was the most surreal thing that I probably ever went through. And it was an amazing experience. And I just want to mention, the reason why I don't want to mention that is it's because today's December 7th. And I just want to say God bless all the men and women that were in Pearl Harbor, in 1941. God bless.
Fair winds and following seas, shipmates.
Yes.
And there's, and I know you got to get to your sponsors, but
no, you're good.
I've
all night.
I've had the pleasure, since I've been down here in Florida working, where I'm at the VA in West Palm, of meeting a lot of more seasoned World War II veterans, and so I have the pleasure of knowing a 102-year-old Pearl Harbor survivor who is actually who is at Pearl Harbor today, celebrating the anniversary. And when I tell you this is an amazing, amazing man, he chokes me up when I listen to him speak vividly about his memories of being at Pearl Harbor on that, December 7th, 1941, and what he saw, what he did, like you said, recovering bodies and things like that. And he is just an incredible human being that is truly a human treasure. I mean, I don't know how many Pearl Harbor survivors we have left. I can't imagine that, I think that they have, the camaraderie has a website that has like an unofficial tally. And I think there's like 28 or 29 of them left. So
can't be many.
Just amazing. I mean, and like I said, you can't help, guys like us or guys who have our backgrounds, whether it's Navy or Marine Corps or whatever, you can't help but be emotional and think about, those things and what that generation has done for this country and who they are to us. If they hadn't done what they did and survived what they did, and, we wouldn't be what we are today, whether, flawed country or not, it's, we owe it to them. And unfortunately, there's not a lot left.
And you guys bring up a good point. I actually read a Facebook post of one of our past state commanders for the VFW. He was going by and the flags were still at full mast. And today, all flags are supposed to be at half mast until sunset.
Yes.
And it's just, I think a lot of this country has forgotten history.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're teaching in school these days. But he was very upset, and he made it known to the entire state that he was very pissed off. And that makes me mad too, because
the state knew, because I got an email this morning reminded me that to put my flag at half mast, and I did that at work. But so it was a super surreal day when I taxied by. But I was on an aircraft carrier at the time. It was the newest.
Which one?
Carl Vinson.
What aircraft carrier were you on?
Carl Vinson. Yeah.
Carl Vinson?
Yes, sir. Back then it was in 1985, and it was a brand new ship. It was only like 2 years old. And so it was like the flagship. So here I am standing on the baddest war machine that the planet has ever seen. And
he loves his ship.
Just going past the Arizona, man. Let me tell you. And you can look right down and you can see the ship. It's so close to the surface. You could see it you could see the oil oozing up. And just knowing that there's, how many ever men that are still in that ship at the bottom of the bay, man, I tell you what, 5,000 men on on the carrier, and I don't think there was one dry eye on the entire ship that day. It's crazy. But all right, so
let's get to our sponsor.
Let's get to our sponsor, Mr. Charlie. Let's hear it from Charlie.
What is going on, guys? It's your man Charlie right here from Single Tree Barbecue. Did you know we are on a mission to build community through undeniable hospitality and the perfect plate of barbecue? Y'all come check us out, 2805 Old Fort Parkway, right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 8, Sundays from 11 to 4. Give us a call at 615-307-0120. You can check us out on all the social platforms at Singletree BBQ. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you. Appreciate all the support.
Yes, and they have a.
Hey,
veteran
Buzz, if you're ever up here, man, he is the best barbecuist in the world.
I'm gonna check it out. I'll be in your area in November. Well, next November for I have a young nephew getting married, so I'll be in the neighborhood. I'll track you down.
Do you play golf?
Yeah, not as much as I want to, especially and considering where I live, I don't get out enough. But yes.
The reason why I ask is because we are having our VFW Southern Conference Golf Tournament on November 8th. So I've got a team already and I need to fill it. I've already paid for it. So you're on my team, sir.
Deal.
Okay.
Do I have to hit it straight?
Huh?
Do I have to hit it straight?
No, not really. I'm a hockey player. I'm a terrible golfer.
I was gonna say.
I'm just there for the fun. That's it.
He's the Happy Gilmore of the group.
Dude, I do. I take a step. It's just like I'm taking a slap shot, which actually would be coming from this way. But since I'm a golfer, I got to go this way. It's just, I hate weird game. Very weird game. I don't know why people love it so much. Whatever. Hey, to each his own.
It could be a very frustrating game. I'll just
yeah, it can.
So what else you got there, chaps, before we
we had a great Christmas party. I just sent home, I had a guest for about 6 days. His name is Dan Clore from American Warrior Festival from upstate New York. He just came down here. He's the lead guitarist and singer of a band called Weapon X. And he helps, he does a triple circle of service. So he gets the kids that are wanting to go into the service, the Deppers, and teach them, the skills that they need to go through boot camp. They help out the active duty, but they also help out the veterans. So we did a museum tour at Johnny Cash Museum. Awesome. We had like 15 guys sponsored by VFW 12206. I showed him around to everybody that I knew that would help him with a concert that we're trying to do in Murfreesboro next year. And then we also went shooting at Outpost Armory, which right now, the VFW 12206, we are gold members of the Outpost Armory. So anytime you want to go shooting, just let me know and we'll set it up. And renting a range is very cheap. You just got to buy your own ammo. That's it. That's all I ask. But it was a great time.
What does a gold member get you?
Gold member gets a free, for me, it gets a free handgun, free AR-15. I got to buy the ammo, and then you get a lane anytime you want to go in. But I also get to rent 7 lanes for $250, and we get to go to town on some targets, which I did with a Staccato 9. It was awesome.
Did you bring your saw?
No, dude, the saw is $60 and the ammo is another 60. So at the time, we didn't have $120 to rent the saw. Next time we will, because the saw was my gun in Ramadi and Fallujah, and I was a kind of a clerk on the third deployment. So, yes, the saw is my weapon, and we didn't get to fire it. But next time, we're doing it for the post, and we're going to be firing the saw.
What's it cost for a gold membership, if you don't mind me asking?
It's $43 a month. It's $450, and you just pay $43 until it's paid off. It's cheap, not bad.
So do you have to pay that every year, yearly?
No, monthly, $43 a month.
No, I mean
it's
the $450 or whatever. So it's $43.
Oh, $450 a year.
Yeah.
One and done.
I got you. Or $43 a month.
And those guys are great. Actually, one of the guys that served us, he was Navy. He was security forces, or SP. What do you guys call? Is it SP?
Shore Patrol, SP, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's Shore Patrol. I mean, unless it's changed now. I mean,
yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think they're. I mean, are they still MAs? I don't know. I mean.
Oh yeah, they're definitely.
That's true.
MAs.
Yeah, they're MAs now. I don't know. Yeah, it's confusing. I think on what
I don't know. You're the
job he
Navy
was.
guys. I'm just the men's
So-
department of you guys.
Yeah, you know my buddy Taco. We had him on the show.
Yeah. Ron,
He was
yeah, of course.
Yeah, he was the MA, but back when I was in, we called him Shore Patrol. So I don't know if it's the same thing or not.
Well,
Yeah, I don't
MA
know. I mean, and they've changed so many
Master
damn
at Arms,
rates.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've changed the rates so many. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's what anymore. I mean, it's like
Correct.
YNP,
I was on the USS Kearsarge in 2007, and I saw a 50 cal that was rusted to shit. That MA's got to do like some push-ups because they're supposed to keep, as a machine gunner, that is supposed to be clean with LP and like you got to scrub.
I just want to remind you, I've been out of the Navy for like 4 decades, bro.
Yeah, you have, but you talk about it like you were just there, sir, every day.
I was going to say, listen, Flake, don't feel bad, man. I retired in 2007, so I'm
That was
decrepit
when
as
I was
well,
on the
bro, so-
Kearsarge. That's when I got my shellback ceremony in 2007.
See, hey, again, I just want to point out again, you're the boot here.
I am the boot. That's okay.
Listen. In 2007, I had 22 years in, bro. So
Shit, that makes you a master
old
chief.
dude,
Were you a master chief?
senior.
Senior chief. Oh, hi-oh.
So what does
Listen,
that put you in at 85?
yes,
That's
right at the tail, like tail end.
When you
Oh,
were
okay.
a boot.
I,
When you were a boot, Fleek.
hey,
In
actually,
85, you were a newbie too.
I went in January 28th, 1985.
Does Buzz
Well,
remember when he went into Great Mistakes?
It's a
Or
light.
did you go to Orlando?
It's like no, I went to Great Lakes.
Yeah.
And it was cold as shit because I was there in January, bro. Let me tell you. And you finish boot camp and you're thinking, all right, I'm done with this shit. And then you go to core school, so you're
You
right across
guys
the
must
street.
have
and
just
throws your
missed
ass
each
off.
other, man.
Yeah,
It
were you
was
there?
cold as shit.
Were you there in January of 85?
I think like January 23rd of 85 was my ship day.
That is fucking weird. My
Dude, you
ship
guys
day-
just like either missed each other or like were there at the same time and didn't know each other.
Probably.
do you remember what company you were in?
Heck no, brother.
That's-
But I could
yeah, I
probably
don't-
find it.
I think I was in like 043 or something like that. I don't
I know I got the picture.
Yeah, I have a picture somewhere too. That'd be freaking weird if you were in my freaking.
Wait,
Oh.
wait. I gotta ask a question. Fleek, why do you look like Santa Claus and like Buzz? He kind of looks like a young.
Because he dyes
Like-
his hair. And I just grow old gracefully.
Fleek,
Hey,
I'm
that was
just kidding.
There is no Grecian formula in this, bro. I don't.
He's got all his hair. Hey, at least he's got all his hair. Like
Man.
mine's gone. I look
So
like a
So-
punk back here.
I keep going and trying to get haircuts, and I end up like I walk into the barber shop and I end up with like coming out with a high reg. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
frig? I'm like, just like I don't need a high and tight anymore, man. I'm not that dude anymore.
I'm not that dude anymore.
Does that put you at what, 57, 58 years old?
Now 55, 56. Yeah, my birthday's in December 20th.
Oh, it's coming up.
I'm 57. So,
I'm 40. I just turned 46. So
Again, you're the
we're
boot.
giving birthdays. So
yeah.
You look great, bro.
I'm just curious because I'm trying to figure out.
now it's on your mind, Grace, man. Now
We've
it's on your
had
mind,
to have been in the chow hall or something together, man. At one point, we had to have.
Yeah, we had to have crossed somewhere along the line.
Hey,
yeah, for real.
You guys have like your graduations like inside, right? Or are they outside?
They're in like a giant drill hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, it's cold in Great Lakes in January, February, March, bro.
Yeah,
It's cold.
Yeah, but you don't have the horrible summers of Paris Island. That shit sucked.
the
Damn.
summer sucked too up there, but trust me, the winters blow ass.
Yeah,
I can't even. Well, no, I can't imagine because I have been there when it's cold. I
It
don't.
was
I don't like
snowstorms.
Chicago when it's cold.
Snowstorms from hell while I was there. Like the snowbanks were over your head.
Yeah, and it's bitter, and it would come off the damn lake so fast, it would just engulf, and then it would snow, and it was there for the duration, like it didn't go away.
Yeah.
It stayed there, and it was frozen.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
you'd walk out in the morning, and it was so bitter, cold, and nasty.
Crunching.
It just took your goddamn breath away. To be honest with you, it was
He
crazy.
just said the GD.
Yeah.
Sorry.
$5.
You can say whatever you
Just
want,
kidding.
man.
No, I'm just kidding.
You realize that every mess night I was the most fined person in the room, right? So I'm trying to behave.
I had to make the grog for a mess night in 2007.
I'm trying to behave.
Fucking was terrible. Yeah.
It's the worst.
But okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I gotta hold us back. Buzz, this is your
One more thing before we start. Army Navy game Saturday.
Go.
I just for some reason I just thought it's Army Navy game Saturday, which would be yesterday when you're hearing this or watching this.
When you're hearing it next week.
And there's 3 guys here that are rooting for the Navy. I'm pretty sure.
Go Navy, beat Army, you fuckers.
It's the one day of the year that chaps will actually hang out with us.
Of course, dude. I want those Navy guys to kill those Golden Knights. They suck. They're terrible.
We got to break the streak. We've lost a couple. We've lost a couple in a row. I was at the game last year up in Philly.
Maybe Buzz can get us tickets to the game next year. I don't know.
You know what? I have another story about Army Navy that I can tell you when we get rolling here, about how I made it a really, really great West Point connection at the Army Navy game about 3 or 4 years ago.
Sweet.
Crazy story and how it played out. And I mean, last year I ended up at the game and I was, that we got invited to to some of the pomp and circumstance, and I'm like, and we're hanging with like the Army Chief of Staff, the Sergeant Major of the Army, all these like high-end business people. And I'm thinking, I'm like I'm white trash from Philadelphia. Like, I have no business being, these guys are wearing Armani suits and all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, how did we end up here? But I'll tell you the story in a little bit. But, if you have never witnessed Army Navy or attended an Army Navy game, it is truly, I will tell you, it is the best sporting event you can attend. And there's great rivalries, Ohio State, Michigan, all that stuff, Super Bowls and all that. None of it compares to Army Navy. If you get the full experience of all the pomp and circumstance, watching the march on, it is, and it's awesome. And the people you run into are just, just crazy. I was with Sergeant Major Kent, Sergeant Major Estrada, and all these Sergeant Majors of the Marine Corps.
Whoa. You were with Sergeant Major Estrada?
Sergeant Major Estrada, John Estrada, 15th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And he's just there, dude. He was just there. I'm like, bro, you're the guy.
That's awesome.
Dude, he's cool. That guy, I met him once. That guy's cool as shit.
I want to point out to our listeners, too, that the 2 best schools in the damn country are West Point and Annapolis. And the men that he's talking about and the women, when they graduate and they discharge from the military, they have a golden ticket. They can go get any job they want anywhere they want, and it's very prestigious.
It is a lifelong fraternity and a lifelong, you're set for life. I mean, my son was being recruited at one point to play at the Naval Academy in football, and I couldn't convince him. He didn't necessarily have the grades. He was a borderline student, and his SATs weren't high enough. And they were like, well, if you come here, we'll send you to the prep school for a year, which is in, for a Naval Academy, it's in Rhode Island. So you spend a year learning about, life at the academy, the academic rigors and all that fun-filled stuff and military drill and all that. My kid was like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, listen to me. Don't be a moron. This is a lifelong, not just commitment. I said, you will walk out that door when you get that ring and you're set. Of course he didn't do it because the old man told him to do it, but all because he didn't want to go do military. I don't want to do that for an extra year. I go, it's one extra year. It's 1 year, bro. Who cares?
Yeah.
But he takes after his mother. So
it is a very long commitment, but hey, listen, 4 years out of your life when you're sitting there at 50 years old and you're just sitting on piles of cash. I mean, that 4 years it's peanuts compared. Absolutely. So if you ever have a chance to do that, definitely do that.
But without further ado, because I can't wait to hear your story. I can't wait to hear your life, Buzz, because you are a big advocate for veterans. And who are you? Who are you, Buzz?
That's a complicated, complex question, I guess. But I will tell you, I'm a simpleton. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My father was a Vietnam veteran, served in Vietnam, 66, 67. He was also an FMF doc, served with Charlie
Nice.
1-1. Was part of the Tet Offensive. Was my hero my entire life up until the day he passed away this past May. Got wounded in Vietnam. So my old man's originally from Pittsburgh. So I grew up going to both places. But he met my mother. He was coming back from Vietnam, met my mother at the Philadelphia Navy Yard when he was wounded. My mother did some kind of administrative work there. And, long story short, there was a courtship. They got married and, lo and behold, started a family. And, and here I am. A very pro-military household. He was a Philadelphia fireman for 35 years. My mother worked for the IRS, blue collar, lived in a row home for my entire life. I had two sisters. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do after high school or during high school. I was a little bit of a hellion. I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but I like to hang around on the corner a little bit and, get in a little bit of trouble, not crazy trouble. You know what I mean? Do some stupid crap that we do in Philadelphia. But when I went to one day I said, I'm going to go down and see the recruiter. And when I went to the recruiter, of course, the old man says, go see the Marine recruiter, go enlist in the Marine Corps. I said, all right, done. I'm going to do this. So I get down there, and in like Philly, it's like, they're all in these strip malls. And it's kind of like, it's by seniority. It's Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force. I guess the Coast Guard was there. I don't remember, but maybe they were. But, so you get there and it's like Gauntlet Row, like, they're all waiting for you. So I get there and I don't know what time it was in the day, 11:30, 12 o'clock. And, no Marine Corps recruiter. Whoever the staff sergeant was or the gunnery sergeant was, not there. So I'm like, all right, well, shit.
Damn.
So as I'm leaving, like I'm walking around, and as I'm leaving, there's this crusty old boatswain mate chief,
Oh, man.
with a Marlboro hanging, dangling out of his mouth.
Typical.
Like, hey, where you going, man? I'm like, I was here to see Staff Sergeant such and such, but he's not here. He says, well, come on over here and talk to me for a minute. And I knew right away I was making a mistake, and I say that at the time, but it played out the way I wanted it to. But I knew right then, like, don't talk to him. Just keep going, keep walking, get in your car and go home, because the old man is not going to be happy if I go home and tell him I'm in the Navy. So long story short, I'm talking to this guy, and next thing I know, I'm like, I've signed papers, I'm enlisted, I have a ship date. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, holy smokes, dude. I mean, I went in to go be a grunt, and I'm leaving, going to the Great Lakes, but the saving grace is I made it clear that, listen, all I ever heard about was if you're going to be in the damn Navy, you better be a corpsman, or you better, that's the only thing that is worth in the Navy. No offense, brother. And I was like, so I did all that. So, I did that, and I enlisted, and I was out of there in about a month, and on my way to Great Lakes and all that fun-filled stuff in Corps School, and the rest is history.
Where was Corps School?
What's that?
Where was Corps School back then?
Great Lakes.
It was, okay.
Yeah, Great Lakes. So, you did that, and it turned out to be the best thing I ever did, because in reality, I ended up, I went, and I know you talk about the Carl Vincent and your ship, and so my first orders are blue orders, and I want no part of it. I'm a baby doc on this ship. I got this old crusty HM1 once again, Newport smoke, and I'm the baby doc. So he was doing whatever he did most of the time, and I did all the work. So I'm on this Knox class frigate. It's an old decrepit Knox class frigate. It's rusty. It's, you should look at it, and it's not pretty to look at. 438 feet of rust and dust and gray and whatever. First cruise we go out. We're in the Caribbean. We're doing Leo ops. We got the Coast Guard on board. We're chasing drug runners in the Caribbean. Had a great time as a doc. I got to ride the rib and do all that high speed Coast Guard stuff. Chasing drug runners, boarding ships and all this crap. We're boarding little, yachts, whatever they were called. That was really cool. I said, all right, this ain't too bad, because I didn't want no parts of being on board ship. Next cruise we're doing a med. We're like, halfway, in the Atlantic. We're out there. Next thing I know, it's general quarters. We're on fire. We're spewing oil. We're dead in the water. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And now I'm a doc, and I'm like number one nozzleman on the fire. I'm thinking like, why am I number one nozzleman? Like, how did this happen? Like, I don't want to go down into the bilges or the boiler room. We're on fire. Like I said, we get down there. We're on fire. We're dark. We're dead in the water. There's this old like engine man or, machinist mate or whatever he was, there's like a hole in the boiler, and he's got his finger literally in the hole of this boiler, like plugging the hole. I'm like, what happens if you like pull your arm? He's like, well, then we're going to explode and I'll die. I'm like, all right, well, keep your finger in the damn hole, bro. Don't, I don't know if you're trying to scare the little young buck here, but please don't take your finger out of that, because I want to go home, But so long story short, that we end up we're dark and dirty. We end up getting towed in to Roosevelt Roads, Puerto Rico, by the Dutch Navy. I don't know if you ever saw the Dutch Navy, and especially like in the late 80s. These dudes had beards. They're like hanging. I mean, they're drinking beer, and they're towing our asses back in to Roosevelt Roads. We get to Roosevelt Roads. They cut a hole in the side of the ship, put a new boiler in, fix us up, send us on our way. So, already going into the yards. Long story short, we got halfway through a yard period, and then they decided, you know what, we're not going to, it's not worth repairing the ship. So decommed. I had orders to, FMF school, FMSS, and then the rest is history. I went to the dark side and never returned to the Blue Navy. So, which is good, because once the grunts got a hold of me, I was, ruined for life.
Yeah, we will do that to you.
Everything changed. I don't know what happened, man. I got there, and all of a sudden I realized what my old man was telling me my whole life. This is why you want to be with these dudes. These guys are
animals.
And it was I will tell you, it was the best 20 years of my life.
Who are you attached to?
I was with LAR. I was with 6 Marines. I did. So, 8th Marines at one point. So it was
wait. 1828 or 38?
18.
Ooh, the Beirut Battalion. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So,
Very nice.
but had a great time. Did an I&I duty, which was awesome. He told me, hey, go to I&I duty. It's easy. You're working with the reserves. You don't do shit. Well, that was a lie, because I deployed. And I was thinking like, oh my God, I'm going into combat with reservists. Like, what am I going to do here? Oh my God, I'm going to come back and whatever. But it was really an awesome experience. And like I said, thank God I got to the green side, because it was where I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to be doing. I met some of the craziest bastards in my life that I have made lifelong friendships with. And no matter where you go, you cross these guys. Like, I think back to, Fallujah, November of 2004, and the fact that it's Jesus. As it's been as long as it has been now. And I see these guys, or I talk to these guys reach out to me, and it's like it's like it was yesterday, and it's been 18, 19. It's crazy. It's like, the bond that you make, the friendships that you make are just incredible. It's just,
it's true.
I can't explain it to people. And it's all shenanigans, and it's all silliness. And you think back to what you were doing, and you think, my God, what the hell were we doing?
Why did we do that? Why?
Yeah. Like, what was the thought process in that? But then again, and I think to myself, like, I was a doc, and I was right there with them, doing it with them. Actually encouraging them. Yeah, go ahead, do that. This is a good idea. It's not a good idea. It's stupid.
Buzz, my docs were just like that. They did everything we did. Bad, good, in the middle, whatever. You guys, I love my corpsmen. I love them.
It was, and one of the things, I always loved to, like, I was like, all right, well, and once again, like, the craziness in my mind was just like, well, if I'm going to be attached to these bastards, I gotta be Marine Corps regs. I gotta be this and that. I can't mess around with this shit. I'm going to PT right with them. I'm going to beat half their asses if I have to. And it just, it was awesome.
And now, since you were attached to green, like the green side,
Mhm.
like our docs, did you have to wear? You wore a Marine Corps like khaki shirt, green pants, with your Navy insignias, right?
Yeah, I wore all the Mercury uniforms except for the blues. I mean, I wore Alphas, I wore Charlies, I wore all them. I mean, I just, to me, it was the right decision to make at the time. And as I got older and I pinned all my khakis and I made chief, it was like I never wore khakis because I was always on the green side. I have them because when you in doc and you go through, chief initiation and all that, you have to buy all that shit. But I never wore the chief khakis, not because I didn't want to. I just was never in a blue billet. I had one opportunity to take a blue billet. And it was when I was a chief and they wanted me to go to the clinic at Quantico and they kept saying, well, it's green. I kept saying, no, it's not. I said, you're going to put me in that clinic. And I've spent the last 18 years of my life with grunt units and Victor units. I said, I'm going to go to this clinic and I'm going to end up losing my mind on some young sailor because he's an x-ray tech or a lab tech or whatever. And I'm like, no way, fatty. That ain't how we operate here. I don't know who your chief was before I got here, but I'm going to tell you right now, this guy is going to kick your ass. I would have ended up in the brig, or my wife will tell you, I would have ended up in NJP. So,
which I got. I was.
Yeah, I might have had one of them too, which is. Yeah.
Hey, Chesty loves us.
Absolutely.
The guys who got NJP, get them out of the brig.
It is a great learning lesson to be NJP'd and stand in front of a man who can really controls.
Oh, dude, he took my soul. Like
I
was like shaking so bad. I was so scared of him. VMI guy, battalion commander. I get drunk in Iraq and he's like, yeah, I'm going to hang you out to dry, motherfucker. I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm standing like this and I'm fucking scared out of he's Massachusetts, wicked thick Boston accent. And I'm just like scared. And I'm a 27-year-old kid.
Right.
Man. No, I'm not a kid. I'm a man and he scares the crap out of me. Sorry.
And I felt the same way. Like I'm thinking like this guy he's got me because it was the same thing. It was alcohol related and this and that. It was fighting and drinking.
Go fucking figure, right?
And it was the same thing. I'm thinking there's no way I can go home and tell my old man I got kicked out. Because I'm a dead man. Yeah, I'm dead man walking if I have to tell that story.
Did you get dropped down in rank?
Yeah, of course.
Rate and rank. Rate and rank. That's what you guys call it, right? In the Navy?
Yeah. Half month's pay, 45, 45, all that fun filled stuff.
Did you do the brig?
45.
No brig.
No brig? Yeah, me neither. No brig time.
It's a little restriction. Little go down and behave yourself and
I was
do
on
media.
porta shitter. I was in Iraq. I was on porta shitter duty for like the next 5 months.
How'd you
I
get
cleaned
drunk
out
in Iraq,
every
bro?
single porta shitter
I know,
in
right?
Camp Fallujah.
Well, I will tell you. So,
which you probably sat in.
Probably, because if you were anywhere near camp, if you were anywhere near Bahariya, Camp Bahariya or any of that, probably, because that was our stomping grounds for, most of 2004 into 2005 before we got ready to punch out and head back. But, speaking of getting drunk in Iraq, my mother-in-law was awesome.
Oh, shit.
She used to send me the clear bottles, the water. Somehow she got vodka in that shit.
I had Jack Daniels in Listerine.
I'm like, you open it and there would always be like a little note attached, like enjoy it. I'm thinking, what is she talking about? It's like flavored water. And you open it up, it wasn't flavored water. It was vodka, bro. I'm like, this is good shit right here. She's the best. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh, good times. Good times.
Too much fun, brother. But yeah, I don't know, man. I had a good time. But
And then you made it to you said senior. You made it to senior chief. 22 years. That's a long time. That's a lot of time in the Navy.
yeah, I tell people it's the only big boy job I've ever had in my life. I mean, I know what I do now, and I work for the VA and have been for almost 17 years now.
You know, when I lived in Florida, you said you work at the West Palm VA, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was that's where I used to go when I lived in Vero Beach.
Yeah.
I used to go to, that was my start. That was where I went to the VA, and I only went like once.
Well, and if you were in Vero too,
all the time.
Vero to West Palm is about an hour and 15 minutes. It's a bit of a hump. I mean, so
I went there once, and I always did the outpatient stuff. I never went to the big hospital.
Yeah, it's, and there's a CBOC up there in Vero now, but it's, I mean, the CBOCs, you have primary care and a little bit of other, some groups and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's just a little bit of it's an outpatient clinic.
What do you do for the VA?
So I am the director of community relations and community engagement. My role is to go out and to talk to guys and gals and, about our services, what we do, why it's important to enroll, why it's important to engage, things like that. I work with the congressional liaisons. I work with the VSOs. I work with veteran-friendly businesses. Really, anybody who wants to hear me run my suck, bro.
I need to hear a plug from you, because I was actually trying to get my guest enrolled into the VA. He was a Marine. He and I, he was in Ramadi when I was getting there. So he was leaving, and he is not enrolled into the VA. And I was telling him reasons why. So I'm going to take this time, and you are going to tell our listeners, if they are veterans, why they should enroll into the VA system. Please.
I would tell you, my first question would be, why wouldn't you enroll, especially if you're a combat veteran? It's not a re-enlistment contract. You're not signing a contract. You enroll if you want to engage and utilize the system for certain things. That's great. And if you just want to come once a year and have a screening, get your labs drawn, they check. They give you a quick 1, 2, 3. Okay, you're good to go. Your labs are good to go. We'll see you next year. That's great too. But especially guys like us that were in Fallujah, in Ramadi, in those areas, anywhere over there. I mean, Afghanistan, Iraq, especially with the PAC Act now, you're crazy not to come in. The PAC Act changes all your eligibilities. It changes everything. Whether you were eligible at one point or not eligible at one point, we have no idea the toxic exposures that we've been exposed to. I mean, between PACT, Compact Act, the Service Act, it's important to come. Just get evaluated. I mean, once again, and if you don't know how to do it, or if you're having a hard time doing it, if you're running into any issues with doing it, then I will tell you, I'll give you my cell phone number. I'll give you my email address. You call me and I'll get you in the door and I'll get you evaluated. It's not about, guys and gals will always, they like to tell me, oh, you know what? I'm good to go. I don't have any issues. There's so many guys who need it more than me. That's bullshit.
Yep.
There is plenty. The VA is a mega machine, dude. It is the largest healthcare system in the world. Are we perfect? Hell no, we're not perfect. But either is, Palm Beach General or St. Mary's or they all have issues. Once you get past the bureaucratic bullshit and get in the door, the system will work for you. Find that guy or gal.
And like a guy who actually knows what he's talking about. Just get past the bureaucracy. That's right. It took me 11 years. You might want to ask that question. I know what you're going to ask.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, I need to get a hold of you after this because they turned me down.
Yep.
They said I make too much money.
That's the thing, not to cut you off. Keep your thought. That's the thing. Good. What a lot of guys, gals don't know who served, or people who don't, even like civilians that I work with who've never served. It's not everybody is eligible for VA healthcare, which to me is bullshit. To me, if you served, I don't care if you were a cook, a yeoman in the Navy, an administrator. It doesn't matter to me. I'm no different because I was lucky enough to deploy into combat and get blown up and shot at and all that bullshit. I mean, to me, if you served, like, 1% of our population does, you certainly deserve the right to receive these benefits. So yeah, you can call me. I will.
Yeah, Fleek needs to call you and talk to you about that because
the eligibility and the eligibility is stringent. Like I said, I mean the enrollment eligibility, and I'm all backwards here. The book's like this big. It makes the Bible look like a small book, and it's got all these reasons why you can, why you can't. If you were this, you go to A. If it was A, you go to D. All that crap. Like, listen, the guy served, the gal served. Enroll them. I don't care how much money they make now or whatever. I said that to me should have nothing to do with it. I get it, but there's a will, there's a way. And if you're told you're ineligible, I'll tell you how to become eligible.
Yeah. I think they told me that I made too much money. I'm like,
they probably did, because there's an income threshold. Like if you live I live in Palm Beach County and are we going by Richard? Am I going by Andrew?
You can call me Dick. You can call me
Dick. Dick it is.
Far. You can call me Chaps. You can call me Chaps if you want.
Chaps. I like Chaps. You lived in. Yeah, you were just talking about. I said I live in Jupiter. So I live in Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County is it's an exclusive area. There's a lot of wealth in Palm Beach County. A lot of all that.
Huge wealth.
So and it goes by your zip code, Rick. So you could frickin'. If you live in 33458, which is where I live, or 33410, where the VA is, it's different income thresholds. But I will tell you, in Palm Beach County, if you're making $50,000 a year, which I think is what the income threshold is, you're living under the Juno Beach Pier. You can't survive here. And I don't know that you can survive that in a lot of places. It's the way it is. It's the cost of living. It's where we are as a country now. But I don't know who comes up with these numbers, but it's insane to me. Like, for me to tell a veteran that you're ineligible because you make this amount of money is disgraceful to me. I will tell you a quick story. So when we were in the height of the COVID bullshit, and we were the only ones with a vaccine, and there was a big demand for the vaccine, we opened our doors one weekend. Right around Martin Luther King birth, somewhere around there. And we opened our door for a weekend, and we were inundated by thousands of veterans and people who wanted the vaccine because they were scared and whatever. So, our marketing basically said this: if you are eligible for VA healthcare, come on in, whether you are enrolled or not. We will enroll you, and we will give you a shot. So inundated. Honest to God, thousands of people. And I will tell you, on numerous occasions, I would have to tell, and somehow I became the Grim Reaper and the bearer of the bad news. I don't know why, probably because I'm the shyest guy in the building. I would be the bearer of the bad news. I would be the one who would have to tell a World War II veteran who sat for 5 hours in our parking lot waiting for this shot that he was ineligible to receive the shot because he made too much money. And I can't tell you how bad I felt. I'm looking at this man. This man's like 93, 94 years old. And I have to tell him, your service didn't matter, because that's what he heard. He heard me say, because I told him he was ineligible, what you did in World War II didn't matter. Think about that. This poor man, he's crying. His wife is crying. And me, I'm thinking like a doc. I'm thinking, you know what? Go see one of the nurses, tell her to give you a syringe, and I'll give you the shot in your car. And, whatever. I'll take the heat because I broke the lot or I broke whatever. It was horrible. And I had to do that probably 100 times that weekend to tell guys and gals, hey, you're ineligible. Same thing, because of income. And I'm like, what the hell does that got to do? And by the time we got smart enough to say that shit don't matter, just give whoever wants it, the shot, right. It was too late. It was too late. And the damage was done. And then we wonder why there's certain stigmas with the VA. I told someone today, in the congressional, I said, listen, I said, here's one thing I promise you, I'll tell you. I said, I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to bullshit you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Now that probably gets me in trouble with the director, but it is what it is. I would rather be Buzz the honest guy than Buzz the bullshitter. I don't want to tell you that some line of bullshit, because you know what? Veterans know better. Maybe we're not that smart, at least me, but we can read between the bullshit.
We know bullshit. Oh yeah.
I mean, bullshit is bullshit. So,
Right.
But I would tell you, there are ways around the eligibility, and I probably shouldn't say that on a podcast, but the truth of the matter is there are ways to get enrolled, and you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family.
Bangladesh is going to hear that and be like, "Oop, I'm gonna tell the director on you."
What pisses me off, like on social media, there'll be like advertisements. If you're getting declined from the VA, call us for $400. We'll get you in. I'm like, what the fuck?
Don't listen to the fucking sea lawyers. Pardon my language. Don't listen to them. I used to do veterans court for our veterans in Pittsburgh, and as well as down here. And there would always be these shysters outside the courtroom, and I'm thinking, who are you? Why are you here? Are you telling these guys and gals, yeah, I'll get you, don't worry, I'll take good care of you, that you get 20% of whatever when it's done? I tell my guys, listen, stay the hell away from these cats. Stay away from the sea lawyers. I said, it'll work, or come to me, or let me help you. Let me fight for you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was too, because they wanted like 400 up front and then a percentage of whatever the VA gives you. I'm like, what the fuck?
So they fight for you, and they do whatever they do, and they follow your claims, and they tell you what to write, and then all of a sudden, okay, yeah, you're right. You get Service Connect, and they tell you, okay, we're going to backdate it, and we're going to send you a check for $25,000 or whatever the back pay is. But yeah, my man's going cha-ching because I get 20% of that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not giving you 20% of nothing, bro. You didn't do shit.
Yeah.
Hey, the VFW is working on that. You see it all over LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Claim Sharks and the Guard Act. They're trying to pass it, which is great. That's
and it got really crazy too when with the Camp Lejeune water. Like, I can't tell you how many guys are calling me. They're like, hey, I'm seeing commercials. People are calling me. It's like, listen. Don't listen. Hang up. Don't give them shit. Don't listen. I mean, if you want to file a claim because of that or this, then I'll help you file the claim. You can file the claim yourself. I mean, it's simple. Go to va.gov.
What about that? Now for our listeners, what about that 3M shit going around? Which I didn't do. I didn't take the bait for that.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I've seen it all over the place too. I didn't, because I'm thinking, you know what? You're probably saying, we had cigarette butts in our ears. We had all kinds of shit. I mean, half the time I didn't have anything in my ears.
What?
Cigarette butts.
Tampons.
Tampons.
Sorry, ladies. Had to.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's really honestly, in all seriousness, if you're interested in enrolling, if you want to enroll, please do it. If I can help in any way, I will be more than happy to help. I mean, I have guys and gals that, call me all the time. I know Angela Martinez. I do a ton of stuff with him.
Angela, we just had him on last.
Yeah, we just had him on.
I mean, I do a ton of stuff. He was bugging me this morning about saying, hey, this dude, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, just send me the specs, bro. And I don't want to talk to you. Let me talk to him. I mean, so
Angela, hey, I'll be down there in February for his hike in 2024.
Dude, his hikes are off the hook, bro.
I did 2 of them, and they are off. Dude, he is a crazy man. I love that guy.
Dude, he's off the hook, but he is, he's an awesome dude. I mean, I don't know how to, I can't say enough, positive things about Angelo and what he does. And now he's got this Barrack Lesson Foundation going on. And
I know, and the podcast and
I mean, it just, he's constantly, his brain's always going, he's thinking about things, and he's calling me. I just went to a conference with him in Vegas a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you went to MCon too?
Yeah, I went to Mike and had a great time, dude. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it's so many individuals and so many smart veterans and entrepreneurs and guys and gals that are doing amazing things for veterans and bringing awareness to a lot of things that are really important. I know you guys talk about suicide and this and that, and I will tell you this. And I told Angela that Angela had a gala last year for IW, and he asked me to talk. And one of the things I said to him was, I said, I had no idea what Irreverent Warriors was or what the hell it was. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? You guys are running around in silkies, acting like, nitwits and this and that. I'm like, I can't smoke these anymore. I'm a friggin' old man. And but what I said to him was, and I'll tell you this, and I honestly believe this, and I said this on the podcast somewhere else, that I don't know what the number is, whether it's 22 or 21 or 20 or whatever it is. And the VA likes to tell you, of that number, 65% of them are not seeking care through the VA. And that's fine. And maybe that's true. I mean, or maybe that's what the data says. But I really don't care, because I don't give a shit until the number becomes zero. I really don't care. Until if we lose one guy or gal to suicide,
too many.
I don't care. I don't want to hear that we're doing this, or we're short on mental health providers, or we couldn't get them in. I mean, I don't care. I mean, we're not doing a good enough job. We're just not. We're not. I mean, and it's not that we're not trying. It's just no number is good enough. So don't waste my time with 65% of them don't come to the VA. I don't care. I mean, like I said, when you tell me it's zero, when we have a year finally that there are zero veteran suicides or suicides in general, then okay, I'll say, all right, cool. We're making progress now, because it's right now it's an epidemic. Yep. We have got, I mean, and I'm sure you guys have been touched by it. Probably all of us have. I mean, I served with 4 guys over the last, 17, 18 years that have, taken their own lives for whatever reason. And it's heartbreaking, and it's tragic. It rips, people to pieces. Your families are left to pick up the pieces, and you don't know why. And it's just, we had a poor Gold Star mother here who lost a son in Iraq, and then one who committed suicide, and then a third son who just died in a car accident. And I can't even fathom what that poor woman and her husband are going through.
It's horrible. I mean, my dad was the first veteran suicide. I wasn't even thinking about the military.
Yeah.
I was in boot camp, and he died the second month I was there, hung himself. And that was my first brush with suicide. And it was terrible. And, I had to pick up the pieces, my brother and my mom, and then I lost my brother, and then it just spiraled after that. It was just.
Yeah. And I don't know how, and I don't know, I don't know how you continue on. I don't know how you deal with that. I don't know how I
for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been sober for 5 years, and now, I don't work for the VA, but I help veterans you help veterans in an amazing way. I try to connect people with other people. Like Fleek will call me up and be like, hey, I got someone who's in trouble. Just today, some woman called, is this a VFW post? I'm like, yes, ma'am. Commander Farr, how are you? I need a wheelchair. I'm like, well, I got a mechanized one in my storage unit. And I was like, hey, I don't have a fold-up one, but I will find one for you. And our AMVETS post had one. So I get to connect her with that person. And that's what I do for a lot of people. And my phone, like yours, is, well, you probably get a lot more phone calls than I do, but I get a lot of calls, and some of them are good, some of them are bad, and some of them
there's always somebody reaching out about, for whatever reason. And like I said, some
my
good
VFW members, like, when's the next meeting? I'm like,
he loves that
question. 3 years, dude.
He loves that question.
Look at the flyer. Sorry, that's a big thing with me. I'm like, seriously, man, just look at a flyer. You are an alpha. You are a Green Beret, or you are a SEAL, and you're asking me like when a meeting is. Like, there's something wrong there. Come on.
It's amazing how and I end up doing the same thing. Like, I'll have questions. I'll be like, dude, at one point in your life, you like you just said, you were an alpha male. You had structure, you had discipline, you had response, you understood response. What the hell? Why can't you understand this? Like, what's so hard? I tell people,
Frago, JJ Tiebuckle. Come on now.
Right. I said, I'm literally a dumbass. I mean, I can figure it out. How come you can't figure it out? I mean,
I'm a crayon eater. I can get it. Right?
Listen, I like to taste the crayons too, so don't feel bad.
And Buzz and Fleek, I mean, did you guys hear that? Like, when you were like around Marines, like, did you hear that we were crayon eaters in 85, 86, 87?
I don't ever remember hearing that when I was on active duty. It all of a sudden just started happening. Like, I don't know where it came from.
Spoken from the gods right there.
Well, have you ever eaten a crayon?
I have.
I mean,
See?
honest to God, like, I don't even remember like 10 years ago hearing it, but I could be wrong. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Hey, I ate one just because I was with the Reverend Warriors, and I had to be a reverend for Donnie and Cindy and Nate and all those guys. And you know what? I haven't touched a crayon since. So I've been crayon free for at least 2 years.
Hey, before we went live, you said you had a funny story about how you got the name Buzz.
Yeah. Ooh,
Can we hear it?
Yeah. So like, everyone thinks, is it your haircut? You smoke a lot of weed growing up. I said, no. I said, honestly, so here's the deal. So I told you my dad was from Western PA. My dad was also Richard, so he was also a dick.
That's
as the three of us all are.
That's four dicks in one conversation.
So if you, if you didn't know, yes, I go by Buzz, and thank God for my mother, but my name is Richard as well. So I'm a dick, and probably a lot of jarheads, probably a lot of them will say, yeah, Buzz is a dick. But anyway, as I was growing up, as I was a baby, so how the story goes real quick, is, my mother started calling me Buzz. She'd tell you, I was always fluttering around. I was always this and that. So she came up with this name called Buzz, because when she met my grandparents, like I said, my dad was Richard. When she met my grandparents, how it was going to be played out is my father was going to be Big Dick, and I was going to be Little Dicky. And, and God bless my mother for changing the history of me. Because can't tell you how happy I am that I am not known as Little Dicky.
Little Dick.
Whether it's true or not.
I couldn't take you seriously if your name was Little Dicky. No way.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hey, Little Dicky Bryan. Here comes Little Dicky
That's
Bryan.
That's got some heftiness to it.
I would love to see what it was like spending 22 years as a devil doc with the name of Little Dicky.
Devil dog.
Think about that. I mean, I would have been doomed from the minute I checked in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Come on in, Doc. We got a little something for you, bro.
Hey, Doc, did you teach a lot of combat life-saving skills?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And thank God for that too. Like, especially when we were going to tour 2 and we were getting ready, and we were going, it ended up being Fallujah in 2004. We spent a lot of time training the unit and those skills, and the tactical combat casualty course. We kind of adopted it. We took some of the Army, what they were teaching their guys and gals. Every one of my jarheads had tourniquets. Everyone in the squad there was at least one guy IV certified, and it was unofficial, official type stuff.
Yeah.
But we made sure that, listen, if shit goes down or if Doc is no longer with us, what are we going to do? How do we handle this circumstance? How do we handle this situation? We know if we're taking fire or whatever, get out of the kill zone or return fire, or, cordon off the area, do these things, but somebody's got to be able to take care of, Johnny or whoever, if he's on the deck in a bad way. How do we stabilize him? How do we go forward? How do we get him on the bird? All that kind of good stuff.
Hey, I remember we had to do a mass casualty at Onslow Beach, and it was, it was put on by all the docs. It was awesome. There was tourniquets, there was bandages, there was explosions everywhere. It was pretty cool. Yeah. You guys, like I said, I love my docs. You guys are.
It's awesome. I mean, we say it's awesome now, but in reality, and the other thing, what we wanted is we wanted our guys, and I don't want to leave out the gals, but at the time I didn't serve with any gals. If this shit did hit the fan, were you going to be out? I wanted fight or flight. I wanted their training to take over. I didn't want them worried about whatever. It was just automatic. Hey, this guy's got this going on. I got to place a tourniquet. I got to do this. I got to punch a disc, whatever. So that's, how we worked them up. That's how we went.
Chest wound.
Yeah. What's the story with the quick clot? Is that shit good or bad?
Oh God, my favorite.
It works. It burns.
It burns like hell.
Listen, all the things that we were doing, like we were doing things like we were using, at one point carrying tampons, patching holes with tampons, duct taping them, things like that. Never thinking like, holy shit, when they get back to the aid station or when they get back to Alpha Surgical or Bravo Surgical at Camp Fallujah, like, oh my God, these poor guys. Yeah, don't get me wrong, they're in a bad way, but you're going to rip 8 layers of skin off too with that duct tape. And really, you probably shouldn't have been using the tampons and everything. It didn't necessarily have a great effect, but the quick clot worked, but it burned the shit out. I mean, you knew it. When you hit it with them, they knew it.
Damn.
So, but it worked.
But they don't even carry quick clot anymore, right?
No.
They got rid of that, right?
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering. I didn't know if it was bad or not. Was it like, was it just because it burned like hell, or was it like giving them cancer or some shit?
Yeah, I don't remember what the effects were, but it came out. Initially it was like, hey, this is going to save lives, and it probably did. But I don't know what if it was a chemical composition or what was going on with it as to why because we were still carrying it when I left.
What they replace it with if they don't use it anymore?
Yeah, so I'm sure there's something that it was like, oh shit, this is toxic. And I don't know either.
Because I was on the 22nd MU when you left, and where were you stationed when you got out of Navy service?
My last tour duty was on an I&I staff because, like I said, once again, it was, hey, dude, go there, man. You come back from combat, it's good to go. It's easy. You're training reserves. Don't worry about it. Yeah, right away we deployed again, and then I retired. So,
wow,
yeah,
you are
at one point, bro. The damn reserves. And I say that because we're one team, one fight. And I believe that at the time I probably didn't. But when I got to work with them, I realized, holy shit, these guys are deploying as much as the active duty forces are deploying. And the challenge with that is, when we came back as active duty guys, we got back to Camp Lejeune, Camp Pendleton, Norfolk, wherever, that was your life. These dudes come back, they're freaking accountants. Like you just spent a year in Iraq or a year in Afghanistan, mobile patrol and foot patrol, doing all this crazy shit. And then you come back and 3 days later, you're John the accountant again, or you're John the plumber again. And it's like, the challenge of going back to normal life, that transition to being a civilian again, it ain't easy, man. I mean, guys like that were on the active duty side, man, it was different. These reservists, I was like, holy shit, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you go from, like I said, you're driving down, MSR, Tampa or Phase Line Kathy or whatever, and your IDs and all this shit. And, or MSR Michigan, I'm thinking of all the places I was hit with IEDs.
MSR Michigan.
And then you're on, 95 or Route 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And every piece of trash or every dead possum or raccoon, you're thinking, holy shit, is it going to detonate? It's crazy. I mean, and that was the thing that I really learned, and my respect for reservists. I got, I've never, the active duty, we used to be like, hey, freaking reservists. What do you guys do? You show up on the weekend.
Good job, reservists. Good job.
But, hey, at least the cats that I was with,
Hey, Buzz, can you talk about your book, which, by the way, I've read? Can you tell everyone about this amazing book that you guys wrote?
So the Warrior Book of Virtues, which is a field manual for living your best life, and really how I got involved. I got involved with Nick Bennis and Matt Bloom, who were both two Marines that I served with in Iraq. We fought through Fallujah together and did all that fun stuff. Really it was just a matter of saying, how do we put together our thoughts and talk about, utilizing virtues. How do we talk about what we were successful with, what led us to, some sort of success and in our lives, and how do we help guys and gals who may be challenged with whatever. And it was, we live in a world now where everything, everybody wants instant success, instant gratification. It's not necessarily about, hey, putting in the work or doing the hard work. It's just different. So we take a lot of those traits about, what we did, which doesn't necessarily mean that it will work for everybody or what, but hopefully if there's something in that book that you can take from and read and say, okay, well, you know what, I'm dealing with this or I'm dealing with that. And, maybe because this worked for Buzz, it'll work for me. I mean, and we talk about, discipline and prudence and temperance and,
justice.
charity.
And you know what? That, every single general known to man has had Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and he was a Stoic. And your book covers the 4 main points of Stoicism: temperance, prudence, justice, courage. And you know what? It's been going around for 2,000 years. I think it works. I think it's been proven to work. So,
and it was a project that I didn't want to do. I was like, and I'm like, not because I did, and I say not
amazing.
Because I didn't want to do it. It was just, I was like, I don't know if I have the time, I'm like, I got to, I'm working at the VA. I mean, I don't know. I've never written a book. I don't even know. And as I told him, I said, Nick, I don't know if I can put a sentence together, let alone write a chapter on fortitude or temperance.
Oh, he did.
So,
he did a good job.
And you know what? And kind of tie in some of our live, life experiences and things like that, and use a 9-line and a situation report and things like that to help people. And it's weird because we really thought the book would be more towards, military guys and gals, 18 to 25-year-olds. And what we found is a lot of people that were older than that were purchasing the book and liked the book and were learning from the book and were reaching out to us that were having challenges with whatever, a divorce, losing their job, whatever the challenges we face in life, I told someone one time before I did a radio interview, I said, listen, if this book helps one person, then I'm cool with that. I mean, that's all that matters to me. I'm once again, because what worked for me doesn't necessarily is going to work for everybody. So,
true.
So
but it was well written. I mean, it was amazing. And thank you for the signed copy. I still have it. It's downstairs. I love it. Thank you. I apprate that, man. I really do.
Anytime, brother.
I need to get me a copy of that.
Yeah,
I'll send you one. Tell me where to send it.
You guys need to switch.
Yeah, that's a great
Give
idea.
him a cookbook and
how about a nice cookbook with a cute little sailor on the cover?
I'm done.
And his grandmother.
I'll take it, brother. I'll take it. Yeah, send it my way, and I'll make sure I get you a book.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I just sent you a friend request on Facebook, and tomorrow I'm going to follow it up with a message. I'm going to see about getting into the VA.
Good.
My wife's been on me about it too, so I need to just.
I mean, in all seriousness, it's reach out to me. Let me know. I'll get you squared away.
Yeah, just tell me what I got to do.
You take your wife's advice, and I've been telling you this.
Yeah, everybody.
As long as I've known you, sir.
Yeah, everybody's been on me about it, but I gave up after they turned me down. I was like, "Fuck off."
See, that's what they're looking for.
And you know what? That's exactly the answer we hear. Fuck the VA.
Yeah.
The VA is this, whatever. They, I don't need that shit. You may not, and that's the other thing I tell guys. You may not need it now.
Yeah.
But 15 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you may.
Right.
You were on board a naval vessel. There's asbestos. Yeah. There's all kinds of shit on them ships. Trust me, bro. Same thing. Well, like I said, the guys and gals that have served, in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria, and all these other fun-filled places we get to go on these exotic vacations for. There's bad shit.
Exotic. Horrible shit.
I gotta tell you, I've drank out of Scuttlebutts that tastes like fucking JP5, man.
Right.
Like it's cross-contaminated somehow. Like, how is this tasting like frickin' JP5, man?
Which is exactly why you need to do a toxic exposure screen.
Which I love that smell, by the way. I'm sorry. I love JP5. I love that smell.
Great.
JP5, first thing in the morning with a little salt water in the air. It does bring back memories. That's for sure.
You can't beat it.
A little bit.
Yeah, you
can't beat it, brother.
All right, so we're at like hour and 15, so I don't want to keep you too long, but I always save one question. So are you ready for it?
I hope it's not a hard one, but yeah.
It's not a hard one.
It's not hard. What do you think the most important thing that civilians should know about veterans and their experiences?
Boom.
That is a hard question.
Oh, shit.
Man, come on, Philly, let's go. You got this, Chief.
I would tell you I think that a lot of, You touched a little bit about our history and what we do and what's going on in the school systems nowadays. And I don't know either, because my kids are all, my youngest son is 28 years old, and times have changed dramatically from when he was in school. I will tell you that we have lost, we've lost, and maybe it's too strong, but I think that even though you hear so much about veterans now, and there's so many veterans doing wonderful things now, I think we've lost an appreciation for what these guys and gals have done, for these guys and gals, whether you went forward, whether you didn't go forward, no matter what you did in the military. We have become a society of venom, of cruelty. No one, we lack kindness and compassion and empathy for people for whatever reason. And maybe that's not, I don't know if that's directly related to veterans, but I see that every day. I see that in the VA. I teach a 3-hour class every couple of weeks on customer service, how to be kind to each other, how to talk to each other, how to be respectful of each other. And to me, it's 3 hours long, 3 hours. And to me, I can tell you that and teach you that in 5 minutes, why you should be this way. But I just think we've become a society that has forgotten, like I said, how to work hard, how to be driven, how to be dedicated, how to be responsible for our actions. It's, doing the right thing is the right thing. Even whether you're being watched, whether you're not being watched,
discipline is.
That's what it is.
Very nice.
But I just think that we lack a lot of that. And I would hope that there would be some more compassion. You see, and I say it all the time, like, you hear, hey, thank you for your service. I appreciate your service. I don't always know how to respond to that other than to say, thank you. I appreciate that. Cause I don't know. And I don't know that a lot of us served or did anything for any other reason than to just serve. Some of us have continued to serve and are continuing to be selfless. Guys like, you two are doing it. Like I said, the Angelo Martinez of the world. And there's so many of them out there on the planet that are doing so many awesome things and are continuing to selflessly serve each other, help each other out. Check on your brothers, check on your sisters. Not everybody's doing well. So, I would just say that, don't forget about these guys and gals, because they have given so much, and their families as well. We always forget about families. We forget about mama at home. I think about, in my case, my wife put up with my shit for a long time, and I would come and go. And the common thing is she was always there. She ran the household. She took care of the kids. My boys are the way they are and have success that they do because of her, not because of me. Maybe I instilled some things in them, but she was the driving force. And it's a hard job to be a spouse. It's a hard job. It really is to be a mother and for these guys and gals. To watch your son or your daughter or a husband or a wife go forward, disappear for a year at a time, go to a bad place. It's not easy. So I try to remember all that. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but
yeah, definitely. I'm looking for whatever you got. So
perfect.
That was perfect, and I marked it because there's a good chance that's going to go in the next book that I'm writing.
Oh, the next. I can't.
So can I tell you my West Point story?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about Army, Navy, and this and that, and it's this weekend, and it's in it's up in Foxborough. It's up in your lay of the land this year. I will tell you, they do it the best in Philly, though, and that's fine. And it won't be back for Philly for a couple of years. But my son and I went to the game, I guess 3-4 years ago. We went, and we were on. So when we left the stadium, and we were on the subway going back in the city. My son lives in the city, and it's nut to butt. You're packed into this damn subway. Everybody's on top of each other, and it's all Army, Navy guys and West Pointers and midshipmen and this and that. So we're standing on the L, and we're packed in tight. So there's this gentleman there, and he's an older gentleman, and he's clearly a West Point grad because he's got the big old ring in, and he's talking to his grandson who is aspiring to go to West Point, and another gentleman, and they're talking about what's called Founders Day. And Founders Day is what they do it annually, and they bring in a West Point grad, and they talk about service and their life and this and that. It's in a New York men's club in Midtown Manhattan. So they're talking, and the one guy is a younger guy, and like I said, and the other guy is older, and they're saying, oh, we have such and such coming for Founders Day. And the gentleman that I'm standing literally right next to is saying, well, we're trying to get this, and he's stumbling upon the name, that the Villanueva guy who plays for the Steelers.
Oh, man.
We're trying to get him to come, and he was West Point class of 2010. But we can't find him. We don't know how to get a hold of him. We've reached out to the Steelers. We've reached out to the alumni groups, and we're not getting anywhere. So my interest starts to peak, and my son's like elbowing me, like, you should say something. And the reason I say it is when I first retired, I worked at the VA in Pittsburgh. I worked in the healthcare system there for about 11 years. So we did a ton of work with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are extremely veteran-centric, extremely veteran-friendly. They have a wonderful sports organization. Whether you like the Steelers or not, I cannot say enough good things about how they honor and care for our veterans, from the Rooneys on down to the lowest person. And so, long story short.
The Steelers are playing his team here in a minute.
I know.
Yeah, well, that's right.
So, long story short, I say to him, I said, sir, I said, listen, not to eavesdrop on your conversation, but we're not the butt here, buddy. I can't help but hear you. Maybe I can help you with your issue. And he looked at me and says, well, what do you mean? I said, if I overheard you, you're talking about Alejandro Villanueva. I said, I think I can help you with that if you're trying to get a hold of him. I said, if you want, I'll give you my contact information. I know this is kind of weird and shit. We're on the L-way. We're not the, we're on the L. We're not the butt, blah, blah, blah. I said, but you let me know. So I handed him a business card, and we went off on our way. He calls me that Monday, and he says, hey, I'm the dude you met on the L. You were talking about Villanueva. Maybe you can help me out. And I said, yeah. I said, by the way, my name is such and such, and, you are who? And his name's Jack Boutine. And he is a very wealthy West Point grad who, kind of does the snowboard. He lives in Midtown Manhattan, as well as has a huge yacht down here in Palm Beach, which is crazy because I'm like, hey, I live in Palm Beach, dude. What's the deal?
Yeah.
And long story short, I said, why don't you let me see if I can help you get Mr. Villanueva to come to your Founders Day? And long story short, we were able to make it work out. I was able to connect him, and Alejandro went and he spoke and did a wonderful job, and we talked about it. But the big joke was, he says, Buzz, he says, when I went back to, the alumni group, they were like, he said to me, he says, I met a guy. I met this dude on the L. I don't know his name. I don't know what he does. I don't know who the hell he is. But he can help us get Villanueva to come to this meeting. And they're all like, what are you talking about, dude? What do you mean you met a guy on about? You don't know his name. You don't know nothing about him. You don't know who the hell he is. But he can help you get the guy. So I was able to connect the two of them. They're friends to this day. He went ahead and did the spiel. And if you've never heard Villanueva speak, Villanueva does not like the public eye. He shies from it. But he's an extremely intelligent man. He's a dedicated man, and he is the real deal. He served 3 tours in Afghanistan. He's a Bronze Star. He's very passionate about veteran issues, and it created a friendship now. So now when Mr. Boutine's here and he has a nonprofit, I help him with veterans, and he helps veterans, and we do a lot together. And that was how I ended up, me and my family at the game last year in Philly, with all these high-end, like I said, the Army Chief of Staff, the Army Sergeant Major, just all these guys, the director of Pfizer. I'm thinking, like, what am I doing with these people? Like I said, I'm a white trash kid from Philadelphia, and I'm hanging with all these, high-end West Point grads that are just successful beyond compare. And it just, but it was like, I met a guy, met him on the subway. So
that is
go to Army Navy. It's worth it.
Go Navy.
Yeah, I definitely want to go.
Go Navy.
Should hook me up with Mr. Villanueva, man. I want to talk to him about my nonprofit.
The other one.
Defended veterans and first responders. Oh no, I'm talking about the sending veterans to
okay.
sporting events. I would love to
Yeah.
have a big name on my side.
He
Not-
is
not for
now.
his-
So Al's now retired. You know, he played a year with, when he left the Steelers, he spent a year in Baltimore.
Yeah.
It was very unhappy, just didn't
Yeah.
work out,
Yeah.
and retired. So he lives down here in Coral Gables now.
Yeah.
Ooh,
He's down here
I
in
like
Florida.
Coral Gables. That's
Yeah.
very nice.
I would just like to talk to him and pick his brain. I just put a board together. There's 7 of us now. And so I'm not just doing it by myself. So I'm just trying to get to the next level and next level. And any advice I could get from anybody, I would absolutely love it.
Extremely. I mean, he'll tell you. He's a very cerebral guy. He's a smart dude. I mean, you see it in his brain. It's smart. I mean, well, he's a West Point guy, so I mean, that's all you need to know. So,
Right.
well, he's West Point, and while he was playing for the Steelers, he was working on his MBA at Carnegie Mellon. So, if you don't know Carnegie Mellon, I mean, it may not be. I mean, it's right up there with MIT. It's right up there with any Ivy League school. It is an incredibly challenging school. Just a smart dude. Smart.
Yeah.
Dude.
I know
Awesome.
some of the Carnegie Mellon's ancestors that I grew up with in New Hampshire. So yes, I know that family very, very well. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
But
Yeah, I mean, listen. If I can't tell you enough. I'll help you out any way I can. I really will.
I'll be reaching out in the next couple of days.
Yeah,
You're awesome, man. And
For-
Buzz, thank
for
you
whatever.
from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for coming on. I'm sorry about yesterday. I had to do coldest nights and
That's
take
all
care
right.
of homeless people in our town, and now I got to go take blood to Nashville and then go back and go to bed. So hopefully, pray
this
for me,
guy's
please.
this guy is nonstop, man.
Hey,
Hey, I'm
dude, Jesus.
sorry. Okay,
Insane.
I found a purpose. You know what?
It's-
When you make obligations, you fulfill them.
Hey,
and
listen.
or you
I just
die
want to
trying.
point out something. It's almost 20 to 8 p.m. in the evening, and this man still has to go take blood and take it from Murfreesboro all the way downtown Nashville, about 45 minutes that way, 45 minutes this way.
But
and
dude,
it's
it takes
almost
me
8
6
o'clock at
minutes
night.
to unload 9 boxes, and then I'm out. And traffic should not be
It's
bad
still
at all.
It's still a commitment.
I know.
Absolutely.
It just they actually, if I don't do it, they yell at me.
But that's
Like-
that's a perfect example of selfless service. I mean,
Yeah.
you do for others. I mean,
You do for
that's-
others.
You know, I mean, and that's what life to me is really about. Like, you know, it's just,
Service.
you know, how can I help you? I mean, don't worry about me.
Yeah.
You know, how can I help you?
Meanwhile, last
Buzz,
night he held the fire watch at church, so homeless people
First
could
Baptist
have a
Church for
warm
22 homeless
evening to
guys.
sleep. That's
I got
guys-
no, seriously. I got 2 hours of sleep. Those guys,
it's
I
nonstop.
love them. I love all those guys, but they're up every hour. Like I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and yeah, and watching these guys sleep in cots. They're going to the bathroom. Then I'm up at 3:30 in the morning making coffee, kicking them out at 7 o'clock in the morning, going down to Franklin to give a prayer for another event, and then come home, took a nap on this podcast. Now I got to do this. That's like a typical day for me, Buzz.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But that's who you are, bro. I mean, and
That's
that's
who I
why
am.
you. I mean, I mean, that's inspiring. I mean,
you
people.
know who I'm trying to be like? I'm trying to be like Angelo. I'm trying to be like Angelo.
Dude,
That guy, that guy works harder than me.
I don't know
guy-
how Angelo does the shit he does, and you know he's in school to be a chiropractor, right?
Yeah.
You know,
He's in school.
he,
I mean,
and
he's
like
there 12 hours a day, then goes home, then does it again. I don't know.
I don't know how, and he's always somewhere. Like, you know, he's always somewhere, and I'm like, how do you do this, dude? Like, I don't like. I'm bitching and complaining about mine, and you know, it's.
And he's
I'm
gonna
like,
put on a hike in February, and he's got to go to Key West for the Key West party,
right.
and then 2 months later he's got to put on his own hike in South Florida. I mean, it's intense.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but
Yeah.
But thank you, man. I know it's late. It's
Yes.
probably 8:39 in Coral Gables right now, so you got to go to.
just I'm gonna eat some dinner, chill out for a little bit, crash.
Got to go down to
Yeah.
what's that place where we all used to drink in Palm Beach? It was like It had oh my gosh, the frothy the monkey where you get the drinks on Clematis Street. Is that right?
I
Clematis
know
Street.
Clematis, yeah.
Brantley's? No, not.
Oh,
Brantley's.
you talking about Bradley's? Bradley's is a
Bradley.
marine. Yeah, it's right on Clematis, right and on Flagler, right on the water too.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
right
I
across
used
the
to
street.
drink my face off in college at Brantley's. So
Well, it's got
awesome.
anywhere that has a Marine Corps flag is appealing, right? You think first thing you see is, oh, holy shit, I got to go drink.
Dude, I was in college in Rollins. I went to Rollins in Winter Park, and I would go down to Palm Beach and visit my friends because they were all rich, and I drove a Jetta, and they all drove M4s and Hummers and all this kind of stuff. So I go down and I slum with the rich people, and I go to Bradley's and I go to Clematis Street, and I get fucked up in West Palm, and it was awesome. I loved it.
I don't drink nearly like I used to. I'm more of a I'm a social.
I was
Yeah.
20.
Yeah. You think back to them young
18
days.
to 21.
Yeah, when you're in your early 20s, and I'm thinking about, and I can remember at one point in my life, I'd have a handle of Jim Beam and a 2-liter bottle of Coke, and it would just be, and God knows what happened afterwards.
Do you know they have like drive-through cold drinks in Vero Beach?
Yes.
I had no idea that was even a thing. And it's 20 minutes, it's 10 minutes past Vero. What's that next town? Indian? No.
Well,
Vero.
That's Indian River County. That where Vero is. Sebastian
Vero,
is
Fort
north.
Pierce?
Oh, Fort Pierce, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd go down and they have the drive-through, and you get these concoctions with like the extra shot, and you're in your car in a drive-through getting booze, and it's open container. I was like, what is going on here?
That's crazy.
It was, dude. Well, that's where I got in a lot of trouble, but I don't drink anymore. But those were the
Hey,
days.
listen,
Man.
which kudos to you, my friend. That is an awesome accomplishment. So we didn't get into it, but my middle son is a recovering alcoholic.
Good for him.
And he's been sober for 6 years now.
Good for him.
And
One day at a time.
how his life has changed from where he was to where he is now is amazing. It's amazing where he is.
I can definitely empathize with that because I was a blackout drunk 5 years ago, and now
and so was my son, and my son was a fighter, and he was getting in trouble and
2 DUIs, and now I have a wife, a house. I'm on a podcast. I'm a state chaplain. I'm a Southern Conference chaplain, which, by the way, if you're in the VFW, I am your Southern Conference chaplain, sir.
Check.
14 states, and Florida is one of them.
Listen, I tell people this all the time. I joke about this all the time. My poor mother still lights candles. I grew up Catholic. I was in a Catholic school all my life, 12 years of Catholic school, blah, 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 and all this. And my poor mother is still lighting candles for me. I said, just keep praying, Mom. One of these days, it's going to click.
Hey, I'll pray too, man. I'm Episcopalian. We're kind of like.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
We're kind of.
It's weird. The chaplains in the VA, there's one who's a priest, and every time he sees me, he stops and he says, "Can I give you a blessing?" I said, "You know what, Father, you're starting to give me a complex here. I see you like once a week, and the first thing you say to me is can I give you a blessing?" And he gives me a blessing. He places his hand on my head and I'm like,
because he knows you're guilty of something. He knows. He knows.
Do I exude like evil or whatever?
It's that Catholic guilt, man. It just keeps on coming.
It's something like, are my horns and tail out? What believe me, they come out. But
But Buzz, we love you, man. Thank you, shipmate.
Yes.
This will come out next week. And we'll
Sunday evening.
Yeah.
Sunday evening.
Awesome.
We'll let you know.
He'll have all your. I'm going to make a post about you tonight, and then Fleek is going to do something, and he's going to send out your link, which you can send out to everybody. So it's going to be fun.
Yes.
Listen, guys, I appreciate it, and a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I'm certainly not shy. So, and I'm all about. I have no problem making fun of myself. I mean, I really don't. I try not to take myself too seriously. And like I said, in all reality, what we do, and I say we, you know, I just, if like I said, if there's somebody I can help out there, I mean, I'm all about it. If there's somebody, you know, needs help in whatever kind of way,
Yeah.
you know, send them my number, send them my content, whatever.
You got
I mean, and I'm game.
Yes, sir.
But
All right.
I
Well,
appreciate
thank
it,
you very
gents.
much.
Thanks,
Yep.
Buzz. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Love you, man.
Love
All
you.
right. Thank you, guys.
Peace.